What's going on, everybody? How's it going tonight? We are ready for some freaking She-Hulk. I'm your host, Keith Toothman. Thank you for joining us for our pre-game She-Hulk for the season finale, guys. Episode 9. We're here. It's been a long time, it feels like, ago that we started this series, but we're here at the end. I'm joined today, or tonight, I should say, this evening, by my co-host and tomorrow's co-host for the Screen Talk Live Daily Show, and that's Lucas Farney. He's gonna say Shane Wallace today, but he is Lucas Farney.
I'll be Shane Wallace. Let me pop out my beard real quick.
How you doing tonight, Lucas?
Doing pretty good. I'm really excited to be back and really looking forward to the finale here.
Yeah,
got a lot of expectations.
Lot of expectations.
Well, just hopes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I said last week, I try not to go into things with too many expectations. And honestly, my biggest expectation for the show was that Daredevil was going to be great. Got that. So they would have to really miss the ball. You know what I mean?
Drop the ball.
Drop the ball. Yeah, right.
Sure.
Whatever. To mess this up. And, you know, if they just keep on the train they're going, I think they're going to get it right. But
yeah, for sure. I agree. I'm pretty excited myself, guys, to just get to this Hulk versus Abomination stuff. You know, me and you, Lucas, talked a little bit about, we've heard rumors of Red Hulk, so you've hung the Red Hulk over by you. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, that sounds exciting, man. I mean, who doesn't want to see Red Hulk? You know, I love Red Hulk.
I've been waiting a long
Hulks,
time to
right?
see Red Hulk. I
love all Hulks. So we're
too.
super stoked. So first, what we want to get into is I want to talk a little bit about last episode. What we liked about it, likes and dislikes. I know it's mainly going to be a lot of likes. And then, like you were saying, expectations or speculation, and all hopes, dreams, you know, all of those things and more. So first I want to start by talking about last episode. So last episode obviously is, you know, still all the buzz, right? And all the talk of the town is Daredevil, right? So we have Charlie Cox back as Daredevil, and like I was saying last week, if you guys didn't catch the last pregame show, I mean, it should now be called Daredevil Attorney at Law, right? Or whatever, because
I feel like at least for that episode they should, because it wouldn't be the first time they've done that. And the 5th episode they did just Jen instead of She-Hulk.
Right, for
I
sure.
think that would have been so funny if they would have done that.
But it was such a cool introduction to the character that it really stole the show, right?
Well, and they knew that, yeah.
Right, for sure. Yeah, they knew going in that it was going to do that.
This is my show.
And that's why they said that at the very beginning, that, you know, hey guys, don't forget, this is my show. I know this is going to be exciting and everyone's, but it's still a She-Hulk episode. But at the end of the day, you know, it stole it in a good way. You know, when I say it stole the show, you know, I don't mean, guys, that it you know, took away from Jen or the show. It did it in a good way, I think. And we were talking a little bit last week about, you know, our thoughts on whether we'd see Daredevil again. I was the only one in the room that thought that we probably wouldn't see Daredevil again. I'm still pretty convinced that we will not see Daredevil again, and I'm going to say because, man, with all of the stuff, right? So if we really do have Red Hulk, and we really do have the leader, and we really do
a lot
have
of stuff,
you know, Hulk versus the Abomination rematch. You know, if we do have all of these things, where do we fit in Daredevil to all this thing, into all these events? So it kind of feels like we'd
She-Hulk
be
for that
spreading,
matter.
right, no doubt. It kind of feels like we'd be spreading ourselves a little bit thin, but so yeah, I'm still not convinced we'll see Daredevil, or even, you know, maybe Kingpin. It kind of felt like, you know, Trevor had brought up that there was potential for, you know, a Kingpin appearance here with the Hulk King kind of character that we're trying to figure out who that is. And I've kind of weaned off that a little bit as we've gotten more towards this, especially with the release of those trailers. Lucas, what I want to talk to you about the most, I know I said I wanted to talk about last week's episode, but I just can't wait. Lucas, what are your thoughts on the Abomination and the Hulk little clip teaser that we got in the trailer for this season finale episode?
So many thoughts. Part of my mind is thinking, is this just Disney doing this to mess with us? You know what I mean? Because last week it got leaked with the Daredevil fight scene. You know what I mean? So maybe it's just a misdirection. Maybe they're doing it to see who, because they've both, it's been a long time with completely different people.
Right.
I mean, they have, like, as meta and funny as that was, they have grown, both of them. And I mean, you've seen it with Bruce throughout all of the MCU, but you saw it with, what's his name? Emil Blonsky. God, he's probably been one of my favorite characters, first of all. His standout performance, man. It's so great because it's not, I mean, you watch The Incredible Hulk 2008 or whatever, and he's like this military, like, even before he becomes Abomination. But in this, I would hang out with this, you know, chill.
Right.
I would be at that retreat.
This
all
Zen
the time.
version. Right. Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
And in a lot of ways, Bruce has found that as well in his own way. Maybe it's just a test of strength. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't know, because it would be a lot. And how, if it's another 30-minute episode or whatever with Daredevil as well and every Red Hulk, all that, it's a lot to cram in there. And I just don't want it to come out like contrived. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking maybe it's a misdirect. Because like last week, they leak a clip, or a clip gets leaked of Daredevil and She-Hulk fighting, and now everyone's like, oh, the whole episode's going to be them fighting, and by the end of it was them beeping. You know what I mean?
Right.
Doing a little bit something different. But maybe that's it. And I mean, Marvel's been known to do misdirections all the time. Like, I wouldn't put it past them. And I just don't think they have the time to build the story for me to care why they're doing a rematch, other than that they're doing a rematch
but specifically, I want to know what you think on the idea that, you know, the last time we seen Hulk, because we had this discussion too last week, right, of would we see Banner again? And again, I was the only guy in the room that was thoroughly convinced that we would not see Banner. And you guys were right. Again, it looks like that we would see Banner, and not only we're going to see him, but it looks like he's rematching with the Abomination. So this is very interesting from where I thought we were, because. And, I mean, it's interesting from where we were, right? Because the last time we seen Banner, he's in a Sicarian, you know, ship on his way back to Sakaar to figure out what's going on there, right?
That's a good point.
That's a really good point. So, in my mind, I thought the odds of us seeing him would be slim to none, because, you know, we're kind of setting up what he's going off to do, which what we talked about on the show today, which may be World War Hulk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever that may
his
be.
Next story, yeah.
But then we see this teaser, it's like, wait, he's back. Not only is he back, again, he's fighting Abomination for some reason. So it just feels, does it not kind of feel out of place, and feels like, how did we get here?
To me, I mean, more than anything, I'm just having this revelation as you're saying that like, if that would have been the last time we saw him, I mean, when we saw that at the end of the second episode or whenever that was, we were like, oh, that's it. It's done. They're doing World War Hulk. Right. That's him.
Right. We were convinced.
With him being back now, it doesn't mean that we're not doing it, but that kind of opens doors of, you know, like, does that mean that we're going to get some answers about World War Hulk, or where he had to go on Sakaar? Or is he just coming back because it's family reunion of Hulks? Or, you know what I mean? Like, what brings him back that's more important than what he has to do on Sakaar?
Right.
And what did he have to do on Sakaar? Like, geez, this episode better be like 2 hours long, man.
Right. No doubt. And it's like I was telling Shane today, you know, on the show, is that, you know, if we're really going to get this World War Hulk, then we really need to somehow set up this very angry Hulk, right? Like, he's just beyond normally angry, right? And like I was saying, you know, maybe, you know, Banner, you know, went to Sakaar and decided, you know, found out that Hulk's kids and wife was murdered, and was like, okay, cool. sorry about your bad luck, dude. But doesn't really care because it's not his kids and wife, right? So he's just going to move on from it. Maybe that explains why he's back here so quickly and involved in a whole new thing. So I'm interested in where we go. Again, I'm very worried that this episode may be a little overpacked. I was saying that to Shane, on the show today, that there's just kind of a lot to do. Now, in the defense of this show, I felt the exact same way going into the season finale of WandaVision, right? We had White Vision we knew we had to deal with. We had Agatha we knew we had to deal with. We had what was going to happen to the kids in Vision we had to deal with. Like, we had still of what's real and what's fake. We still have Monica Rambeau. We still had so much to do, and it felt like there's no way they're ever going to get this right to where we all feel like this is a good, wrapped up with a bow. Mm-hmm. But they did, right?
Well, no, but that's the trouble with whether it's a series finale or even a season finale like that, which I guess kind of is series finale, is there is all of your questions that you have from the entire show, it comes down to this. You know what I mean? And so there's always, to varying degrees, obviously, but think about like Breaking Bad. When that last episode came out, you're like, no way they're going to wrap up everything. Yeah. No way they're going to do it well.
True.
And, some shows don't. Like Dexter, some things.
Usually they don't,
Moon Knight, you know. But WandaVision did. And Miss Marvel did. They've got a good track record of some of these. And I will say, going off that, for this show itself, you kind of reminded me of this, is that not just with Daredevil, but think about early on episodes too. Like Wong came in twice and stole the show. The whole show was him. But still...
True.
Like, and it's Maddie. Her show. Like, right. Two ends, one... Right. But it is her show at the end of the day. And I think that I'm just now realizing how much I like it because of that. Because I think she's not the standout one. Jen doesn't want to be the standout one. But she's the steady there the entire time while you get all these huge cameos, Megan Thee Stallion, all that.
I will say this, that I've definitely fallen in love with Tatiana Maslany and the character of Jennifer Walters.
Me too.
Like, for sure. Like, and it's her that definitely sells me on it, for sure. She's just great as that character.
She's so real. Like, she is so real in her performance.
She feels like a girl that we all kind of know. You know what I mean?
She's my favorite awkward coworker. You know what I mean?
Right.
She is, because she is. She's adorable, man, and a sweetheart. And then you give her, boom, Right. But it's like she said on that last episode, or the retreat episode, I guess, that she can turn into the pretty one, not awkward. She could turn into the head turner, if you will. And it's great having a character like Jen was prior to, the quirky, just wants to do her job, be a lawyer, sweet little awesome person, and then you give her Hulk powers and make her have to deal with the colliding of those worlds, and it's in a different way than the original Hulk that we saw. Because obviously his was monster fighting out, but she had it tapped into it. Hers was a different kind of, almost, and I mean this in all the best ways, more of a feminine way. Whereas the man Hulk, his problem was the rage, whereas hers was dealing with, insecurities and things like that. Not that those don't cross over.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
the more,
Yeah,
I know what you mean. But
I agree 100%.
And I love it. I think it's done really well. And I love it.
Yeah, I've said multiple times I love how girly it is, and that it's more tailored for them, and I it still works for us, and I love stuff like that. It's just like with Miss Marvel, I think it was more tailored towards probably high schoolers and younger crowd, but it still worked for me, man. And I love when things are able to do that. So I guess, Lucas, a couple other things. Let's just do a quick little over under game. So I'm going to say over under 35% we get Red Hulk in tonight's episode.
I mean, it's kind of depend, I think, on how I answer. I will say under. Probably under, based off of where I assume you're going with some of these other over-unders.
Okay, I'm going to say under too, but I'm going to say not much under.
Right.
So maybe
I would
around
say like
30.
right at 35.
Yeah,
even,
right around 30 to just under 35%, I would say, is a good idea. What about the leader? Over under 50%?
Under 50%.
Under 50%.
I mean, I don't know. I'm maybe again right at 50% there because I could go either way because I mean it's like we were talking about last week with Kang. Like it's not beyond Marvel to announce like, oh, Jonathan Majors is going to be playing Kang and Ant-Man, whatever.
Right.
And then like a month later, he slips into Loki, but you know what I mean. Even leading up to the finale, they're like, nah. And now you get the leader announced to be the returning for New World Order.
Sure.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, I'm going to go over, honestly, but just like a percent. I'm going to say, 51
sure,
says we get the leader because I think it's no coincidence that they just kind of gave us this information that Tim Blake Nelson, right, is coming back.
Specifically, right?
To play it. So I don't think that's a coincidence, guys.
Right, it's
I
like
think
Jonathan
there's a pretty
Majors
good
again,
chance that we see him tonight. What about this Hulk Abomination like tease fight that we seen? Over under 30%, that's not even in this episode.
I'd say under. I bet it is in it. But like I was saying earlier, it could be like a blink and you miss it even in that. You know what I mean? Maybe they're just dueling out just for fun, just being dudes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think it's possible it happens.
Yeah, I agree. I
would say definitely over.
Let me ask you this. Of all the people we've been talking about, of Red Hulk, there's so many Hulks, guys. There's A-Bomb, the Blue Hulk. There's Scar, Hulk's son. You have
Hulk,
yes. Of all the Hulks,
Hippie Hulk.
of all the Hulks
that
we could get, and or beyond Hulk. I mean, Daredevil again, or any of these characters that we've been talking about.
Madison. Yeah.
What would you be most excited to see? Who would you be most excited to see?
Pug. I want Pug back. I do. I mean it, man. Like, he's just so great. He's so funny, dude. Like, no, all jokes aside, they would all be very exciting, man. And even if I just got one of them, oh, man, I don't know. Probably Tim Blake Nelson. Probably the leader.
Oh, wow.
Because I love Tim Blake Nelson as an actor. Like, he's just hilarious.
For sure.
But also, not only, like with Tim Roth coming back.
Right. See, that would be the big question, right? Because if we did get Red Hulk, then we're also getting the reveal of kind of who's playing, Thunderbolt Ross, right?
Right.
So that means we would get, and there's been murmurs, right, recently that Harrison Ford may be wanting to play Thunderbolt Ross. So we theoretically could get not only Red Hulk, but the reveal that Harrison Ford is the one.
Get out of town, dude. That's what I want.
Right.
That is what I want.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited for.
That or bring back, what's his name? William Hurt from. It was William Hurt, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, bring him back from the dead. That would be the only thing better, right?
But
even then.
But yeah, I think it's really unlikely that we get any of these kinds of things. Honestly, like the fact that we're getting Bruce back, if the teasers are honest, which they're not always, right? But if the teaser is honest, then the fact that we're getting Bruce back, again, tells me that we have kind of a lot of story to tell here. So to think that we would introduce, Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross. Now, and I've seen a couple of people in the comments asking about the runtime of this episode. We don't know. I'm not sure what Lucas, if you want to look it up, see if you can find some information on it. But I imagine it's around the same time. It may be a little longer. So I'm guessing maybe 43. 43 minutes maybe. But honestly, we may be looking at another 25-minute episode, guys. I just really don't know, but it will be out here in just about an hour, probably a little under an hour if it releases like it normally does. But were you able to find anything about the runtime on it?
I mean, the direct says 35 minutes.
Okay, so there you go. So we're probably looking at like what we've been looking at, a 28 to 30-minute episode. So,
Right.
So that being said, again, I find it hard to believe that we would introduce, you just lob in a Red Hulk at us in a 28-minute She-Hulk season finale. And again, guys, don't forget that this is her show, and they're going to want to emphasize that, especially in this last one.
Yeah, she's going to have to be the center of whatever.
Right. They're going to want to put an explanation point on the idea that this was her show and this is her show, and that She-Hulk is the title character of this show. Mm-hmm. And I think you distract a lot, specifically in the season finale, you just distract a lot if you bring in Red Hulk. And again, we already know Banner's going to be there, the Abomination's there, I mean maybe Daredevil's there. I mean, so I think we won't see a lot of these characters. Now, that being said, would it be exciting to see a Red Hulk and stuff? Of course. I would totally be excited to see Harrison Ford play Thunderbolt Ross in a Red Hulk with a mustache. That would be awesome.
I think we all want to see that. Yeah.
But again, I just don't know if this is the time or the
right
place.
Yeah.
They did kind of tease a little Red Hulk. She teased it a little bit in the last episode, right?
What do you mean?
Like there was like a hint at it.
Maybe.
I believe there was. I could be wrong, but we were
watching it pretty early.
So yeah, right. But so yeah, so I think for me, this series overall has been a little bit up and down. It's been a bit of a bumpy road. I think towards the end it's smoothed out, and I'm having a lot more fun as it's going on now. And I'm excited about this last episode, guys. I mean, we're here. It's 1:05 a.m. where we're at, and we're going to be up until 2 hanging out with you guys, getting ready for this She-Hulk show. So we're definitely excited for it. That being said, my only worries would be that we just kind of got too much to fit in this last episode. And my only big complaints about the series is just that we just haven't got enough of it. And when it is good, it's 15 minutes long or it's 25 minutes long, and it just doesn't feel like it really has enough time to breathe. So, Lucas, what have you enjoyed about She-Hulk so far, and what do you want to see them do in this finale?
Well, first, I kind of want to respond to something, to basically what you were just talking about. I mean, it would be awesome. I mean, I'm over here still thinking about Harrison Ford now. I'm not going to be able to think about anything else. But, I mean, even I feel like there's just not enough time for it to be. It's got to be more grounded than, and I mean, that's kind of how it always ends up being, right? With WandaVision, we're like, oh my God, Magneto, they got Michael Fassbender back. And that's how things always go with finales and stuff, which is the other reason why a lot of them bomb, is because people go in with their theories and expectations of what's going to happen. And I think truly, it will be more grounded, yeah, especially if Bruce is back, especially if Daredevil's back. I think the only one that really, Red Hulk would make sense. I get it, but that one's too much. I think the leader is not completely out of pocket, right? Yeah, because intelligentsia. I mean, who's leading that, right? And
but plus that's a character that you could kind of just throw in and sprinkle.
Okay, but also wait a minute. How did the leader even become the leader?
With the blood leaking into his head.
Right. So of course he wants the blood.
More blood. Right.
Dude, I'm becoming more convinced it could be.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably the most likely of them. So I will say otherwise. I think what I've loved about this show is it's just cute, man. When it works it works so well. And like there, there were a couple bumpy spots, but we do got to remember that this is a season 1, and I know they've got no announcements, whatever, but this feels like it could be a show that goes on for a couple of seasons. And you look at any great TV show, even in the first season, they had trouble finding their grounds or whatever, you know what I mean? Finding their stride. And I feel like if you give this show, the chance to, it'll run. And I mean, because it does run, and when it, works really well. And I think my favorite thing about, other than Madison and Wonger's relationship, that was great. I want a whole show of that. But no, otherwise, like, I thought that I was kind of worried that the Daredevil, because I knew it was going there with the way that they'd set it up and the fact that they'd pushed having him come in. I knew they were going to have a romantic relationship. It was like inevitable in my mind.
Yeah, I kind of seen it coming myself.
They're both attorneys. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it was inevitable.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said, I was kind of worried that, from what I have seen of the Daredevil show, and I know it's not the exact same, I was just worried those worlds were going to clash. Like that, he was going to be too brooding Batman, Daredevil.
Yeah, right.
And she's this cute, little, quirky, funny She-Hulk,
But we got that
But
light-hearted
it's-
version of Matt, right?
Right, and that's so great too, though, right? That's another testament to how great the show is that there are people like that in your life. Man, you're like that with me sometimes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, people bring out the best in you.
For sure.
And that clearly is that's a sign of a healthy relationship.
Right.
And they're doing that, and they just met,
Right.
And I love it when she's like, yeah, let's skip all that. Like, I got a
Right,
good
yeah,
idea.
right.
That's my kind of woman. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to see more of all of them, of all of the characters. I know I keep joking about Pug, but Pug is great, man. He's such
Yeah.
a good character. And I know he was talking about something in, he had, Spider-Man in the comics saves him, and that's why he decides to devote his life to being a superhero attorney. And the actor who plays Pug said, let's do it, Tom Holland. Like, let's get a little flashback. Or apparently he was pushing the She-Hulk, something to that extent.
Sure.
And I love that, man. And her family too. It's so great. Like I forget about them until they pop up. But her dad, when he's like, "They dumped you outside? Are you okay?"
Right.
Dad, I'm a She-Hulk. Great character, man. And I don't know. I think it's done. For the most part, it's done a really good job, like I said earlier, of keeping it She-Hulk show, but having in bombshell, you know what I mean?
Right.
And but really still keeping it grounded while letting it fly at the same time. And that's my hope, I would say, for the finale, is that it finishes, the run that they're on here with these last few episodes and puts a nice little bow on it.
Right. I'd also like to see them do a little bit more with the whole fourth wall thing, like in this last episode.
Yes.
Like let's go a little more creepy with that and figure out, I always joked when this first came out that maybe at some point we hear her break the fourth wall and she's talking to us, and then all of a sudden we hear Deadpool's voice like, "What? Hello? Is somebody else talking?"
Hugh? Yeah.
Right. And something like that would be funny, but it doesn't have to be comedic. It could be anything, but I would just like to see them do a little bit more with it, like I said, and see it utilized, and because every time they've used it, right, it's been great.
Especially the last time.
Right, especially this last episode, but
Yeah.
it really has been. Even when there was with her and Matt again, she like turns to us, she's like, "You guys are feeling this too, right?" And it's just stuff like that I really enjoy with the fourth wall break. So I hope we get a little bit more in depth to that, with a little bit more with that stuff this episode, which I think we probably will, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that she's going to want to turn to tell us, or to, snarky remarks to us, like, "Are you guys seeing this?" Like,
men
right,
fighting,
right, and stuff like that. So yeah, but But for me, I would say overall, like I said, I've enjoyed it. I would put it. I would put it up, like, in its watchability. I think is a little bit higher for me than something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and obviously I didn't like Hawkeye at all, really, and even Moon Knight. Like, I would rewatch this before
For sure.
I would watch any of those things. I don't know if I necessarily think it's better than any of those things. I think it's really right around that group. It's in that what I would consider the B, or maybe even C. I would probably consider it the C group of Marvel television or Disney Plus shows. Obviously, the A group is WandaVision, and maybe Miss Marvel is like an A minus kind of thing.
I'd say Loki could be a A minus,
and I'd say Loki
B
would be
plus.
a B, like a high B, a B plus, and
enjoy
that,
Loki.
and then everything else is kind of falls into the C, to be honest with you.
Or lower.
Right, or lower. I mean, when Moon Knight was first going, I mean, all of these things, to a certain extent, when they were first going, it was like, oh man, this might
So much
be.
potential, yeah.
Yeah, right. There was just so much potential there, but they all slowly kind of, petered off towards not being as good as their strong starts were. And in this case, I actually think we started with what I think is the weakest episode of the series, and I think it's the weakest to me. Is I often have told you this, that it's the most MCU, right? You got Banner, you got the origin story, you have all this stuff to kind of like, put in a cookie cutter and give us the same stuff that we've gotten for years. So because of it, that first episode really, really felt, generic. And then every episode on, I think it's just slowly gotten better until we've had that last episode that was really good. So honestly, I think if they really stick the landing here, I mean, they bring out Red Hulk and crazy stuff and really impress me with cameos and do the bow tie and make it all wrapped up nice, then maybe I think this makes its way into a B for me.
A high B, yeah.
Yeah, instead of a C. But still, as of right now, I would say it's kind of lower on my list.
But high on watchability, you said, right?
Rewatchability.
Yeah, and then
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like The Office. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
Whereas, like, even with WandaVision and Loki, and I really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I know not so much, but those ones, like, maybe when they were coming out, for sure, I was rewatching them and just consuming the hell out of them. But like, they're kind of, you can't go back and just pick a random episode of WandaVision and watch it. Whereas you could throw this on, like The Office, you know what I mean? Because
you could just pick any
it's a big
episode.
story
Yep.
overall, but it is still, there's somewhat separate.
Self-contained stories. Yeah.
Right. A sitcom. I mean, that's
Right.
what it is. So I would agree with you on that one. I also, you made me think of something when you were saying that about the other seasons kind of petering off, whereas this one started off slow, or started off, with its weak one and built up to it. That might be Marvel learning its lessons, because I don't know if you heard this, but I'm pretty sure the director, with the first episode when it came out, she said that episode was originally like going to be 7 or 8. Like they weren't going to show the origin of it until way later on. They were just going to dump you into it.
A mistake.
And that's what I'm saying, is because if you start with that episode, the most MCU one, get it out of the way, and then you can build from there. Whereas if you drop us in and whether it takes off running, which if it follows the same episodes it did, and then you just drop that one later on, totally slow up the momentum and be like, great. Whereas the first episode, you almost expect it.
Right.
It is.
Right. Just get it out of the
you
way.
have to,
Right.
Right. Yeah. Rip the Band-Aid off. But
Right.
and maybe that is a sign that Marvel's learning from their mistakes. They're still new at doing TV shows in a lot of ways, and I think another reason why this one has been able to like step into itself more is because it's got more room. Yeah, even if they're only 20-minute episodes, they're 9 episodes though. You know what I mean? And that's always my thing with with Moon Knight and all of them, really, is just never. It feels like they don't give themselves enough time to breathe. And that therefore things have to be rushed. You know, relationships or whatever, the things that make you care about it or invest you in it, they don't exactly have time for it because they have the things that you want to see. You know what I mean? The big fights and Khonshu and all that. But if you don't give yourself time to have those things that keep you coming back, the characters, the relationships, you know what I mean? The things that you care about,
right,
that make those bigger scenes then even better.
Right.
If you don't give yourself enough time, you end up having to cut those, and then it's just kind of lackluster.
Right.
But I have good feelings about this one. I think it's going to turn out well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really hyped for it. That's for sure. I'm excited. I'm here. I'm ready to watch it. That's for sure. So I don't think it's taken away any of that for me. But again, I do just worry that there may be a little bit too much to kind of do in here. But it also seems a little overcrowded because all of the kind of murmurs, right? It isn't really for sure that we're going to get Red Hulk or the Leader or any of these things. I mean, even the Banner Abomination thing could be, just a sham, right? The Hulk was running in Wakanda, guys. He was.
That's true. That's true.
And so I wouldn't put it past Marvel as a marketing idea to kind of tease this rematch with Hulk and Abomination, but. I mean, also, too, right? It just feels like those dudes just wouldn't fight each other. What circumstances?
I'm a completely different person.
What circumstances do those dudes fight each other?
Not one that we're going to get in 35 minutes with the fight itself.
Right.
I mean, without it being contrived.
And I don't know if it was you that proposed this question to us yesterday, but someone in the chat had asked, who wins between the rematch between Abomination and Hulk? And I was pretty straightforward with my answer. That if it's true and it's authentic to the scenario, Neil Blomsky wins that fight 10 times out of 10, right? Because the truth is that if, you and Anderson Silva both became, or let's use everyone knows, if you and Mike Tyson both became a Hulk today, do you have any chance of beating Mike Tyson just because you're a Hulk?
I think I can stand a couple rounds with him. You bring up a great point,
Mike
though.
Tyson.
Not only that, he's like military trained.
Right, for years.
But
he's like special forces.
All of that is behind him, in my mind. But you made me think of a great point. And that's that Emil Blonsky is at peace with his Abomination. He goes in and out and whatnot. He doesn't have Abomination. I mean, Abomination's not like a teenager like Hulk is, whereas he's still got to grow. Abomination is Emil.
We haven't seen Hulk, right, in a long time, so we don't know.
No, I know, but
I get what you're saying.
Based off of things even we've been talking about tonight,
to
bring that, what I'm getting at too is that maybe that's the thing that does it. You know what I mean?
But to further my point, though, he's also out on parole with an ankle bracelet to check to make sure he doesn't turn into the Abomination. That's right. So I feel like everything's working against him being the Abomination and then him having to fight Hulk, right?
Unless the Hulk is the bad guy in that situation. In my mind, that's the only way that is. That they need the Abomination to stop him. Because they're not going to... I mean, one, I don't think Emil Blonsky would break his probation. He's fought, his sweat, blood, and tears. He's got his soulmates now. He's got to tend to whatnot. He's not breaking his probation, man. He's not going to turn into the Abomination without their approval. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or at least without underlying circumstances like Wong. Yeah.
Right. He does seem like, he's completely
rehabilitated.
Yes. Yeah. So he doesn't. I agree. I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but you're right that I guess if Blonsky is the Abomination and he is fighting the Hulk, that may actually insinuate that the Hulk may be, know?
Right? Because Abomination only became Abomination to fight the Hulk in the Incredible Hulk. That was the whole thing. The military was trying to get him to do it, and it, became an Abomination. But maybe it turns around here and work. Maybe, man.
Maybe.
We might be onto something. Maybe he comes back from Sakaar and Banner's gone, and he's Hulk because he's mad because his kids, something.
Maybe, but the only thing that would lead me to believe that that's not the case is that in the trailer, it definitely looks like Smart Hulk.
Yeah. He's wearing a sweater vest.
Whatever the hell. It doesn't look like this thing behind me.
For sure.
That's for sure. And that's what I want. I guess that's what I want to say. I want to ask next. I want to propose the question, which I may have already done, but what Hulk would we want to see, right? And if I did propose the question, I never got to answer it. And my answer would definitely be, I want Hulk back. Just give me regular ass. I'm angry at everything. I'm basically a monster out of control Hulk. Like, I want to see things be smashed. I want to see things be thrown. I want to see more green. I don't want a shirt on my Hulk. I want clothes ripping off because he's getting so big and crazy. I just want Hulk back, guys. Like, if you guys don't know, you're new around the channel here, I love Hulk. Everything's Hulk in this house. I mean, if you look behind Lucas, to his right over there, there's a giant, maybe, like 7-foot Hulk, the Immortal Hulk poster. Mm-hmm. And everything on that wall is pretty much Hulk. There's so much Hulk. Of course, I have a Hulk behind me, and I named my daughter Hulk. No, I'm joking. Yeah. But I do love Hulk, and I want Hulk back, I told Shane this earlier today on the show, Lucas, and I think I've told you this before, but what really sold me on the MCU was Thor Ragnarok. Like, what really made me be what I am today, where I have a show that I run on YouTube, so I can report on these things. The thing that really got me there was Thor Ragnarok. I really love the Hulk. Every iteration of it I've ever seen, I've really enjoyed. But I never really enjoyed a version of it like that.
Well, because he's the perfect mix. He's not just Hulk smash.
Right.
He's Hulk smash like a toddler, you know what I mean? Or like a grumpy teenager.
Right. But
But
he also has this relationship with Thor that's hilarious, and the whole thing is just really great. And I love that he lives on this planet that like almost worships him, right? And they're like, Hulk, and everything's green. There's like literally Hulk celebrations, right? That they're just throwing in the street.
Basically, what the Avengers get. If you're not the Hulk.
Right, exactly.
I mean, murals painted.
And I love how, the Hulk's soaking that up. He's like, he's a big jock, He's the captain of the football team.
He's an insecure kid that never got attention from mom and dad. Man.
Right,
and that's really
maybe never even had a mom and dad, right? And
his only friend is shoving him in the closet the entire time,
And so, anyways, man, I really enjoyed that Ragnarok version, and it really sold me on the MCU. And I'm thinking, when that happened, I'm thinking, oh man, like I told Shane today, I'll watch all of it. You just put the damn movie out, and I'm gonna go see the damn thing. That's how good Hulk and Ragnarok was for me.
Yeah.
And then, like, almost immediately after that, we got that taken away from us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like a movie later, Hulk gets his ass handed to him by Thanos, right? And like we also talked about that a little bit on the show today, and how much I love Infinity War and that opening scene because it really sets the tone. Hulk getting his ass kicked by Thanos really shows us as fans like, like this dude's legit,
he just took out Plan Z.
Yeah. Right. And so I understood that completely, but at the same time, it also neutered the strongest character, and Earth's mightiest hero, the strongest Avenger, as him and Thor are always debating, and I think that I think that immediately, like, I was confused and I missed the Hulk, and then we got this version of him in Endgame, you know, that is kind of comedic relief.
Say green.
And, you know, it's not that I, like, don't like that version of Hulk.
Yeah.
It's just not what I want. And so, yeah. So I guess
I'm just tired of it at this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I was nice when it was
yeah,
novel.
And,
You
and
know,
then that's what I
but-
was telling Shay. You know, it worked really well when we didn't have a She-Hulk too, right? But now that we have a She-Hulk, she fills all those needs. We don't
Right.
need we need that Frankenstein Hulk, right? That
But Frankenstein with the brain, and I feel like that's where they're going with it. You know what I mean? That he's still the monster, but he's a smart one now. You know what I mean?
well, but not like
but that's kind of
smart, but like
No, but
smarter than he's been.
brutally savage.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like how we see in the Agents of Hulk TV shows and all the animated
Ethan was
shows.
talking about that,
He's
yeah.
like completely you know,
Conscious?
coherent.
Right.
Yeah, and like
He's not
a-
just
right, yeah. He's not just a lumbering
Avengers
big
Hulk,
giant
yeah.
dude. Right. He's like he knows how to, you know, okay, we have a plan. Red Hulk, you go there, I go right. Like
Well, I mean, even
he-
World War Hulk, he's
yeah, for
like
sure.
the leader.
And
He's
I,
like the
and I think
right.
that we should be getting to that because he really has grown a lot, right? And then we may find out he actually had a wife and kids and all these other things going on, and I think that could change the dynamic of the character a lot.
Yeah.
And as I've been saying, the idea that maybe Hulk has been being suppressed by Banner could change this scenario a lot too. So yeah. Lucas, if you had the choice to see any iteration of Hulk or character in this, what would you want to see?
A-bomb, you know, hippie. No, I think what's the gray one's name? It's
Joe Fixit?
yeah, that one. Yeah. Because I don't. I couldn't even remember his name right now, but I remember as a kid for whatever reason that one of all the Hulks, that or Red Hulk, really stood out to me. But maybe it was because those were the first ones outside of Hulk that, you know, is so to a kid. You got a Red Hulk and a gray one. I'm all for it, you know.
Right.
But I guess I'm gonna say Red Hulk as long as it's Harrison Ford. No, but I've kind of been looking forward. Like, I've been expecting it to come for, like, how long has Thaddeus, you know, Thunderbolt been in the MCU? Like, since, like,
It's too bad he
Iron
passed
Man.
away because
Yeah.
he would have been a great Red Hulk.
He was. And
Yeah.
it was like, dude, it was like right on the verge of it. You can feel it.
I know,
That they were,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's really too bad.
It
because
is. Rest in peace.
Yeah, for sure, because he really killed that role, and to see him as a Red Hulk would have been awesome. See, now that would have been the perfect mustache one, and like military him up. You know, he's wearing camo pants and a wife beater. Like I would have enjoyed, you know, seeing that kind of version of him. But yeah. Other than that, Lucas, do you have anything like that? You're like wild theories out there that you could see maybe like, for instance, you know, just throwing something out there that maybe Scar shows up in this episode or something that we haven't quite talked about. I mean, even maybe the Kingpin scenario. It seems like it's getting less and less like that could be an option, but I mean, it could still be, right? What do you think? Any wild theories?
I mean,
We're 30 minutes away from
30
showtime, guys. So
let me come
let us know if you guys got any
Yeah,
wild
right.
theories down in the comments for sure.
Trevor, are you up? No. I don't know. Maybe they have Hulkling show up, or what's the gay one? The gay Hulk, and that he's like in a relationship with Wanda's son.
That's Hulkling, but he's not a Hulk. He's not really a Hulk.
We'll get him to show up, right?
Yeah.
And then we get a WandaVision crossover. That's my theory, man. Kids are back.
Yeah, that's a real wild theory. That's for
I
sure.
know. I'm just shooting it. But no, I mean, I would say, I don't know. I want to see it, Harrison Ford Red Hulk. That's it, man. I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, a Harrison Ford Red Hulk would be pretty cool. That's for sure. But I'm wild theory for me. That, and I know this is gonna seem wild, but it may not be as wild as it seems. is that we get some sort of another hint of X-Men. You know, we got in Miss Marvel, the little right, and she is maybe a mutant, of course, and I'm not saying that, you know, She-Hulk's going to be a mutant or anything like that, of course, but we may hear that something, you know, well, there's this professor that can help you, or I don't know, but that's my wild, crazy fan
I don't think
theory.
it's that far out there.
I don't think so either.
Already in the show, we've seen, what was it, a news article or whatever, of a man with claws in a bar getting in a fight, right?
Right.
A little nod. But also, the first time you ever see Wolverine is in a Hulk comic. He's trying to kill the Hulk.
Right.
So it's not completely out of left field. Like, there's at least, you know, something to support it. But there you go. There's my wild theory. We know Hugh Jackman's coming back. It's in the finale of She-Hulk. Well, and maybe that gives more credence to the Deadpool cameo in the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, is that where you are? You know?
Right.
But no, I now that I say that too, maybe it was even you that said it way back when, but that the last post-credit scene at the very end of the finale is, you know, she turns back to it. And it is. You just get that. And I wouldn't... It is kind of out there, but at the same time, I mean, they teased that there was going to be like a cameo basically in every episode or something like that. You know, like Megan Thee Stallion and Wong.
Right.
And you know, who knows? Maybe the cameo in this one just ends up being Daredevil or Bruce or Blonsky, all of them. But maybe it is Wade Wilson or Wolverine.
Or we get that long-awaited Luke Skywalker cameo crossover that Patton Oswalt has been pitching us since 2012 or so. So it's about time. I mean, we got Boba Fett back. We can make all these things happen now.
He predicted the future. There. No, he put it into being, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He got the stones.
So there's my other wild fan theory is that at some point we see like Hulk and Abomination fighting and like they break something and it exposes in the wall, hidden deep within inside,
Goku. No.
a lightsaber.
A Kyber crystal, yeah.
And it just like zooms in on it and it's like, and it cuts black. And we just know no idea what's going on. When do we know? What do we know? What's happening next? When do we look for more? We don't know. And then I would like them to just never address it again. I love when they do stuff like that.
Like in 2008 with the leader, and then they're like, oh, you know, 22, you know.
Right,
you got it now.
And then when I'm 67 and I'm fighting off pancreatic cancer, I want to find out that we're finally going to get the answers to all those questions that we were asking.
And all it is a 2-second clip of a holographic Mark Hamill, because he's certainly passed on at that point.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a holographic.
Sebastian
it would
Stan,
actually be Mark Hamill's Force Ghost, right? Because
my bad. You are absolutely right. Yeah, because he is Luke Skywalker. Yeah,
right. For sure. But yeah, guys. So it looks like we're about 25 minutes away from when this episode is going to drop. It usually drops like. Well, when we were having good luck, right, it would drop maybe 10, 15 actually minutes before.
Yeah.
So it may drop a little bit earlier. It did last week. It took us like till a couple minutes actually after 2 o'clock before it finally we had access to it. But yeah, I think we may go ahead and check it out and maybe hop back on. I mean, we've had a little bit of activity in the chat and stuff, so it may look like some people will maybe be around afterwards and want to talk about what we've seen. I mean, I'll say this. If it's bonkers, guys, for sure we'll come back. Like if you know, if there's Red Hulk or some crazy, you know, bonanza stuff like that, then we'll come back and we'll hop on here, and hopefully you guys will be in the chat and, you know, going crazy and telling us how excited you are and or how much you loved it or hated it or whatever. But yeah, so I think we're gonna like wrap this up. Lucas, you have any final thoughts on She-Hulk the series and She-Hulk the season finale episode that we're getting ready to watch here in just about 20 minutes?
But before I get to that, I would like to say, you know, thank you to everybody that has chatted here. And even if it's not bonkers and we don't come back to it, I'll be here tomorrow. So we'll make sure to answer these questions at the end of the episode.
Yep. Well, we'll get
later
to the
tonight,
question. We'll get to these chat questions here at the end as soon as we give our final thoughts.
Other than that, man, I'm just ready. We've watched like every single, at least Marvel finale together now.
Yep.
And, it never gets old. I know we've dwindled with WandaVision, we had, Ethan, Shane, Shauna, Trevor,
with WandaVision,
everybody.
It was a whole different experience. We had,
it was.
everybody and their mother wanted to come over here and watch WandaVision. So,
but even Loki, even like Hawkeye, we got some people out here, but it's petered out, and life changes. Noah's obviously in.
Well, I would
Tennessee
also say that not everything could be WandaVision.
That's true.
It was a really compelling story that really sucks you in and turns you into your own Sherlock Holmes, and you wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on,
the board that we had,
our crazy beautiful minds board and stuff, and and you
we
have all
go
those
crazy,
things, so
but you are right, not everyone can be WandaVision. That's what makes WandaVision. But to me, it's not about the show. It could be Boba Fett, and I'm here to experience it with you guys. And and that's the beauty of it. That's the great thing about movies.
The movies and TV are experiential events. They're meant to be shared. That's why we're here doing this show with you guys.
In the morning,
right?
Yeah. Got to work in the morning.
And speaking of, I do want to move over to the chat, Lucas, and I'll just have you start reading some of the chats that we got. It does look like there's a lot of hype for the show. So
there is, there's a lot of hype for our show too, and even
like
you. So you got an admirer, Jonathan Torres, man. He's a great guy. He is.
What's Jonathan Torres saying?
He said, "I love you. Screen Talk Live has changed my life so much. You're the best. Thanks for every video."
Oh, thank you, Jonathan. We really appreciate those kind words, man. Like, it's always nice when somebody wants to just write in and say something nice. And, they don't even want to talk about movies or Hulks and things. They just want to thank us. And I really appreciate that, Jonathan. It really means a lot. And your support to the channel means a lot, man. If you love me, you love the channel, stick around, dude. Come to live shows. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have answer your questions, hear what you got to say, hear your opinions, for sure. So we really appreciate the support, Jonathan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We don't do this just to hear ourselves talk. We do this for people, like Jonathan. We'd be having these conversations for the most part anyway, but now we get to have everyone else involved in it, and I love it. It's great. Get a little bit more, just a tiny bit more love from them. I love Key.
Oh, again, I really appreciate it, Jonathan. It means a lot. It really does.
But then they go on to ask, Red Hulk or the Leader hype?
Both, right? Both. We're hyped for both, right? If you're making me pick between the two, Red Hulk. More Hulks. Give me lots of Hulks.
Hulks.
I want a rainbow palette of, watercolors of Hulks. I want a violet Hulk. I want a purple Hulk.
A prism of Hulks.
I want a clear Hulk. He's just see-through.
Dude, it's like Invisible Woman.
Right? Yes. I want all the Hulks. Yeah. Give me all the Hawks, Jonathan Torres. We want more Hawks.
Yes.
But super hyped for Hulk. Red Hulk, but definitely for the Leader too. Again, love Tim Blake Nelson.
He's so good.
Love the Leader character. A story I've never told on the channel, but when I was in high school, I carried a Hulk comic with me every day of high school for 4 years, and that Hulk comic, the villain of it is the Leader. And for my childhood, I always thought like that was his premier villain. So I love the Leader.
It's like his Lex Luthor, man.
Right, I always thought so. It's definitely not, but I love the Leader and love Tim Blake Nelson. Yeah, super excited. Definitely more excited for Red Hulk though. If you're making me pick, that's for sure. What else do we got, Lucas? Or what about you? Red Hulk or the leader?
I mean, I'm both, obviously.
For sure, but if
since
you're
you
forced
named
to
Red
pick,
Hulk, I'm going to say the leader because we've been waiting 2008 to 14 years, something like that, for his return. Plus, dude, I mean, Tim Blake Nelson is hilarious. He's got great timing. And I want to see his leader. I want to see him play a bad guy because I want to see if he's going to use some of that like witty humor that he uses in other characters as the leader. You know what I mean? Or what's his motivation? I just want to see him. I want to see him back, man.
For sure. What else do we got in the chat, Lucas?
Somebody asked how long the episode is, but
we tried to look it up. We came to the
no from dropping is what. How long is that?
How long?
Dropping?
Currently, right now, guys, we're looking at like 18 minutes, right?
Yeah,
maybe less.
Probably
we could be looking at 15.
I mean, sometimes even 3. Like sometimes it's
right. So not that long, guys.
But then we have favorite Hulk movie.
Who's sending this in?
These are low-key auto sales.
Okay, so low-key auto sales wants to know what a favorite Hulk movie is. So my favorite Hulk movie is the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk movie is my favorite Hulk movie for sure. I don't have anything particular against the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie. I do like it. But that 2003 Ang Lee Hulk is really what made me fall in love with the character. So what about you, Lucas?
Man, I wanted to say the Lou Ferrigno movie just for the meme, but you mentioned the 2003 one with what's his name?
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana, man. And I forget about that movie, but I remember rewatching it even a couple years ago with you when we were going back through it.
I try to watch it yearly.
Dude, and it sprung from my memory because it was 2003, man. Mm-hmm. I was 4 in 2003. Right. But so, this is one of the first comic book movies I'm seeing whenever, I was even old enough to remember seeing it. But something about it just sticks out, man. And you're right. It is kind of like it does the character so well. I remember even the like CG or pre-CGI CG it was, whatever,
Right.
We could watch it now, I'm sure, and we'd be like, what is that, Godzilla?
The 4K
on
versions of them are actually pretty good, though. I mean, they look.
I bet.
They look great.
And like, I'm gonna love it regardless because of nostalgia. But I remember at the time being like, oh my god. This thing's real. Where did they get a real Hulk to film this, dude?
That's how I felt, too.
And it's just those kinds of things, like, stick out in your mind, certain, like, ways that movies make you feel about things or sensations. I mean, that's a lot of... And that one, I forgot until, rewatching it that's one of those for me, for sure. So I have to go with that, too. I mean, there's not a ton to pick for sure. You do got the animated Planet Hulk movie, which if you haven't ever seen is really good. I like that movie a lot. But yeah, guys. So it looks like we're 15 minutes out from this drop-in. Again, maybe less. It looks like there's everything else in the chat is just hype for and question about when it's dropping. So you guys know that. I do want to thank again, Jonathan Torres, Land Stander, Sad T, Loki Auto Sales. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. All the questions and comments are really loved, and it helps the algorithm around here on our YouTube channel. And yeah, so we're gonna end it here. We're gonna hop back on hopefully in the next 20, 30 minutes whenever this episode ends. And hopefully you guys will get back on here and chat with us and tell us your thoughts and opinions on the episode. It's been real fun, guys. We love doing these things. Lucas? Let's Hulk out, man. Let's go green. Say green.
Awesome, guys. All right. Well, that'll be it, guys, for us. We will see you here back in a little bit. Stay hype, man, and stay green, guys.